Okay, so I'm going to be using the if logical expression here. So what I'll do here is I'm going to remove all of these, and I'll remove all of these too. And for this math, instead of having the true or false thing, I'm going to have a grade here. Let me say I'm going to have, let me say 13. Let me put just normal numbers there, right? So 30, 43. Uh, this is a score sheet right now. So this is 45. This is maybe this guy have 39. This guy also have 15. And oh, Gabriel, you cannot have 15 in my team. Let's say Gabriel have 67. And the Isaac guy should have like 55, right? So in English, I'll just put a random number here, 63 72 54 7 6 and maybe 2 3, right? So now the remarks, just before the remarks, let me insert a new row, and I'm going to call this one the sum, or let me say the total, right? So the total here is let me use the sum formula. I'll just say equals to sum, then the sum of both this and this, right? Let me just have them in. So the range, this is 106, and I can pull this down, right? So I'm going to say here that the pass mark here is you have to have above 100, right? You need to have above 100. So let me remove this, this 20 marks thing, just putting it as a kind of remark, right? Probably a grade, right? So for you to pass, you have to have above 100. And if you don't have above 100, that means you really, really, you did not do well, right? So what will happen here is this. If I'm using the if function here, right, I'm going to say equal to if, then the logical thing I want to test for, I want to test if the total, which is here in D2, if D2 is, let me say, greater than 100, I will say pass, right? If it's greater than 100, I'll return pass. And if it is not, which is the value, if it is not true, I'm going to say, I'll say failed, right? Just basically. So then I'll close the bracket, right? So if I put enter here, it means this guy have 106 here. That means it passes, right? Like he had a good grade. So if I double tap this, you see that the very first guy had a pass, the second one had a pass, the third one failed because the guy doesn't have up to 93, right? So the other one also had a pass, and then Isaac also failed because he's not up to 100. So this is how you use if functions, right? And also when you try to use if functions in this case, you should understand that okay, you can also try to nest if functions, right? I'm not just making it just one, here I say if D2 is greater than 100, I say it is a pass mark, and then if it is not, I say failed, right? So there is also another thing I can do. I can check the same D2 using another if function. I'll say if D2 also, D2 have anyone that gets any score that is greater than, that is greater than 150, right? Or let me say, yeah, that is greater than 150. Then what I want to return is I want to say excellent, right? Like excellent, not just pass now. Like you have excellent score. But then if it is not, I'll say if it's not greater than 150, I'll say let me say, is my logic right? I'll say if it's not greater than 150, I'll say let's say I cannot say failed, right? If it's not greater than 150, one condition already there. So this is if it's greater than 100, you say pass. And so if it's greater than 150, I'll say excellent. So but if it is not greater than 100 and not, not greater than 150, I can just say failed, right? So if I close this, but one thing you have to be mindful of here is that you have to be mindful of the bracket, right? It's very, very important because when you don't have a bracket closed, you can fall into a loop that's always stressful. So let's see it. Okay. So this guy had a pass. So if I actually use all of this function. All of them add, pass, pass, pass. So let me introduce another guy. Let me call this Ron, and let's say the guy is having the 75 here and also 75 here. So the total here is 150. But you see, it's still saying pass, right? Because it's not greater. So let's say in math, the guy has 76 instead. So it's still telling me that it is a pass. So something is wrong with my logic. So I have to check it out and see what's happening there. So I'm saying if it is greater than 100, then you had a pass, right? If D2 is, okay, so let's have it this way. Let me change it. Let me say if D2 is greater than 150, let's say you have, let's say that's an excellent score, right? Let's say excellent. So, but then if it is not greater than 150, I want to say then if it's not greater than 150, then if it is greater than 100, right? I want you to say pass, right? I want to say pass. But then if it is not greater than 150 and not greater than 100, then that's a fail, right? Let's see what happens there. So this is a pass, and now we have excellent. So the logic here is, if D is greater than 150, tell us that, oh yeah, that is an excellent score, right? Because you have above 150. But if D is greater than 100, so that means at least if you are not up to 150, but at least you are greater than 100, you still have a pass mark. But then if you are not greater than 150 and not greater than 100, then that means you are somewhere behind. So that means that is a failed mark, right? So this is how you use the if function. And of course, you can definitely still combine a whole bunch of things to make a lot of decisions using the if functions and using it along with other logical functions like the and, the or, and the not. So I know in future tutorials we'll be walking through how you do that and basically but then just understand the basics about how you use the if function here, and you can use it to do a lot of things. You can nest multiple if functions. The important thing is that you keep track of the bracket. Like, you have to close the brackets. If you are not closing them, you might really fall into error, and you have to analyze your logic one by one. So thank you very much, and yeah, that is it.